Welcome to the No Fun channel. I'm Felix, and this is sci-fi shows I think they should remake. And yeah, I'm in a t-shirt mainly because it is hot. My head is sweating. I'm glad I cut my hair off before it got hot. But yeah, it's hot right now. But before that, I also wanted to thank everyone for interacting with the videos I've been making. I've actually had fun making these videos, so I'm definitely going to try to keep doing it. So once again, thank you. I enjoy the interaction that you guys are having. I like seeing people talking back and forth. And so far, it's all been positive, so hopefully it stays that way. That's one of the things I've been trying to do with anything I do, is just be positive about it. Next up is Sliders. Sliders premiered March 22nd, 1995, and stayed on the air till May 16th, 1997. It originally started on Fox. On Fox, it was on there for 3 seasons. Then it moved to the Sci-Fi channel for 2 seasons. Sliders starred Jerry O'Connell as Quinn Mallory, Sabrina Lloyd as Wade Wells, Cleavant Derricks as Rembrandt Brown, and John Rhys Davies as Maximilian Arturo. I think I butchered his name. For those of you, John actually was in The Hobbit. It's Lord of the Rings. So you may recognize him from that. For the first 3 seasons, it was just them. By the end of the 3rd season, John and Sabrina had both left the show. During the show's run, John actually grew disappointed in the show. From what I understand, these are old interviews. I couldn't find the interviews, but I remember him talking about how in the beginning it was going good, but towards the end, he just didn't like it anymore. Basically, the writing just wasn't there. So for the last 2 seasons, they moved to the Sci-Fi channel. On the Sci-Fi channel, Jerry's brother actually joined the show, Charlie O'Connell. He played his brother on the show, Colin Mallory. And that's part of where the writing went downhill, is where they introduced his brother that he never knew he had. Now, the premise of the show was Quinn develops a way to visit other realities, and they called it sliding. So that's how they are, the sliders. They would slide into other realities. Basically, Quinn is shown the Professor Arturo, that he did it, and Wade, I believe, was there for some reason. I don't remember why she was there. But the 3 of them are there, and he turns on the device, and they slide into another reality. During the process, he pumps too much power, I believe it was, and the portal goes out to the street, and that's where Rembrandt joins the team. He gets sucked into the portal as well as he's driving along. I do remember at the beginning, in the first episode, he steps into another reality and comes back. And when he comes back, a lot of stuff has gone on, and he doesn't understand why everybody's mad at him. That's when he realized someone from another reality came there. And they try to warn him not to advance the timer. So back to where Rembrandt joins them, they actually make a mention of seeing a Cadillac as they're sliding. And they find Rembrandt, and they're all jumping in the car. And in the first few minutes, they're all like freaking out because they're in another reality where it's like a nuclear winter, and there's a tornado coming, and they got to get out of there. It's a massive tornado. They're not going to be able to outrun it. And the only way to get out is to advance the timer, and hilarity ensues. So from that, they just kept sliding around and around and around. Now, there was one episode where technically they did make it home, but they didn't realize it. And then they kept sliding. So that was, I actually hate that episode. I think like the end of an episode, they actually make it home. And it's just like the way they tested to see if he was home was the fence squeaked. The fence didn't squeak because the mom finally got it fixed. So because the fence didn't squeak, they kept sliding. Like that's a stupid reason. That was the reason they gave for them to keep sliding. But by season 3, they killed off the professor, and Wade, I believe, she got kidnapped by the enemies, and I think it was called the Chrome Magnum people, or it was a stupid name. It was like they evolved, and it was on a world where the caveman didn't evolve, or like modern man didn't evolve, and the other man did, and they started sliding between realities, and the enemy was going around conquering different realities. So that's what I mean by, like, when I said John had done interviews talking about the writing wasn't there, is, yeah, the writing, it was going downhill. And they weren't consistent with those characters either, those new enemies either. It was weird. But by the end of the third season, John and Sabrina had left the show. And they killed off John's character, and Sabrina was kidnapped. And they brought in the brother. And I think she was in part of season 4, maybe at the beginning. I can't remember 100%. Let me see if I can see if it says. No, she was not in season 4, but she guest starred in season 5. I do vaguely remember that. It's more flashbacks and her voice. She was like disembodied. Like they had her brain in a jar hooked to computers, basically. And Rembrandt finds her, and she's gone. But in season 4, Jerry O'Connell's still there. Rembrandt's still there. Or Cleavon's still there. So the two characters, Quinn and Rembrandt, are still there. And they introduce Kari War. I know her from an old TV show called Remote Control. But she guest stars in season 3 and becomes the main character in season 4 and 5. And then, like I said, the brother shows up as Colin Mallory. And he's in... Oh, he actually premiered in season... He had a guest spot in season 2, a guest spot in season 3, then guest in Maine in season 4, and then was gone by season 5. By season 5, Cleavon was the only regular. All the others were gone. He was the only regular from the original show to still be there. And it just didn't work. They brought in another actor named Robert Floyd, who took over the role as Quinn Mallory. But how they had it is that he was just another variant of Quinn. So they call him Mallory. They wouldn't call him Quinn. And then they brought in, I'm not sure how to say her name, Timbai Lockley. Is Dr. Diana Davis. Basically, she's taking over the role of the Brainiac in this show. So, really, by season 5, it just wasn't there anymore. So, yeah, the first 2 seasons were probably the best. Season 3, it really went downhill. Season 4 and 5, they were struggling. So, yeah, I wish they could have kept it going, somehow fixed it. But it just wasn't possible. I mean, see the main character's bail, then the main character bails along with his brother. And you only got one main character left, and everyone else is, replacement characters. And I remember by the end of the show, they had Rembrandt returning back to his home dimension to save it from the enemy. They figured out a way to either cure them or something. I can't remember what it was, but he had a way to stop them. And the show goes off. It goes off on a cliffhanger. But, yeah, Sliders was a good show in the beginning. It had a lot of promise. I get what they were going for about having an enemy, but I think they picked the wrong enemy. They shouldn't have had those enemies. There was something off about them, and I don't think people connected with them. They just didn't like them. So yeah, it's 5 seasons. They got 5 seasons. I mean, for a show that started to go downhill by season 3, it still managed to eke out 2 more seasons. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I watched all 5 seasons because I kept waiting for it to go back and be better again, but it just never did. It just wasn't the same. But yeah, so by the 5th season, it ended on a cliffhanger. So as for bringing this show back, I've actually thought about this for a while. One way is they can bring back everyone, and I mean everyone. Everyone's still alive. So they could bring back everyone, even the 3 new cast members that joined the season 5, or 2 new cast members, and basically everyone. They can bring back everyone. And I think they should do it in a movie, actually, like a TV movie. It could be a 2-hour TV movie. It can almost pick up where it left off. The only thing they could do is maybe show, well, he went back, he did save his people, and they're rebuilding. And as they're rebuilding, they get the Slider portal open, and he is to help lead a team to one of the other worlds because he's got experience with it. He can have like he's become part of like a military thing. He went from being a singer to military, and he's helping them rebuild, going to other worlds, trying to get help. And when they go, they slide to another world where Quinn, Wade, and the professor are there, and a Rembrandt. And they meet him, and they agree to help. Hilarity ensues. They end up somewhere along the way meeting Kari Wurr's character, Captain Maggie Beckett. I don't think I mentioned her name in the other part, but yeah, she played Maggie Beckett. They could have her show up. They could have Colin Mallory show up. They have the Mallory show up. They have Dr. Davis show up along the way. They all help the other Rembrandt rebuild. Now, here's the thing with Rembrandt. Some people may not realize is that Kleinvant is a twin. His twin brother was actually on Sliders for an episode. They both played Rembrandt when they slid into a world where Rembrandt was a superstar. And Rembrandt was going to stay, but the other Rembrandt was like, no, I'll take it back now. And so they could have his brother show up. So they could bring back everyone, do it in a 2-hour movie. Make it, what? Do they still do miniseries? I don't have cable anymore. They could do a miniseries. Each episode's 2 hours, wrap everything up. Happy little ending. I think it would be awesome. And, who knows? Maybe it'll generate some love for the show. And in the new show, any characters that want to come back, they can bring them back. But maybe not have them be the main character. They have a new team that's their job to slide from reality to reality. But this time it's more controlled sliding. And they can predict where they're going. Like Stargate in a lot of ways. Like they can... Actually, I never really thought about it, but Stargate and Sliders are a lot alike. Because technically, Stargate, they didn't know where they were going. They sent a probe through, they go through, and they take care of business and come back. So they could kind of do like Stargate. They put a team together, they slide to another reality, gather materials, come back, and, rebuild their world. So I think it would be interesting. They could do it that way, just pick up that way, have everyone back, a 2-hour movie, or like I said, miniseries, like maybe, because the miniseries they used to have, I think it was a miniseries, sometimes the episodes were 2 hours long, and they'd be on for like a week and that was it. So they could do something like that. And of course, the other option is still kind of picking up where it left off. Rembrandt's rebuilding, and he's directing teams to go and slide into these other worlds to, get materials and rebuild and stuff. And again, like I said, with Stargate, they could kind of base it on Stargate, how to slide. And they could slide into a world where Quinn and all of them are there. And, again, they can help them out, and they slide home and say, hey, we met these people. Another option. Oh, I forgot about this. Another option is, I didn't write this one, that's why I forgot. I was thinking, what if, this goes back to the first scenario of having them all come back. What if from season 1 to season 2, well, let me start off this way. In Sliders, there was this running gag where every time they checked into a particular hotel, they were already registered. So they came up with the conclusion that there was another group of them sliding. And they were actually just getting there from where they had already registered. They were getting the room that they just had. They were like sliding right behind them. So what if season 1, we're watching the canon team, like the original team. Season 2, we're watching a different team, a different group. Because remember, they've already come to the conclusion there's other people sliding. It's not just them. But what if, the ones we're watching are from season 1. Then in season 2, we're watching completely different group. Then season 3, another completely different group. Season 4, different group. Season 5, different group. And how that would work is, remember at the end of season 5, he's sliding home to get help. Say, once again, he saves them and he goes and he slides and he goes and meets Quinn. And that's when we discover that he's not the original Rembrandt that we've been watching. He's the other Rembrandt that's been sliding. He's the Rembrandt that was sliding ahead of them and registering the room. Like they could actually be the first group of sliders, or maybe not the season 1 sliders, but they're a different group. Yeah, like they're the group from season 1 and 2 where they were talking about, oh, there must be someone else sliding ahead of us. They're that group that was sliding ahead of them. You could discover he was part of that group. And we find out that the Quinn, Wade, Professor, and Rembrandt never met this horrible fate. they were fine that they actually got home. Oh, they could even reference that episode I said I hate, where they had him slide home and check the gate. But this time they have him slide home, and it turns out they decided to take a chance because one of them points out, what if your mom got the gate fixed? And they decide to check it out. Let the timer run out. They check it out and discover they're home. And that's where that goes. And I just remember there was a character that they kept showing throughout Sliders. He kept showing up and he showed up in doing different things. And I don't remember them ever addressing that guy. And that's something they could address. I really don't remember them ever addressing it. Now I'm going to find Sliders and watch it. I have to watch all 5 seasons and see if they ever address that guy. I don't remember them ever addressing this mystery guy. Because he actually fixes the gate. Causes them to keep sliding. And I'm trying to remember if they ever addressed him. And I really can't remember. But, so there's a few ways to do that. And once again, going back to where I said a whole new cast and I got away from that, but a whole new cast of actors to play it, start from the beginning, retell the story, ignore season 3, 4, and 5. Don't bring in the Chrome Magnum. Don't bring in those guys. Get a whole new enemy if you want to have someone keep sliding. Create something different. give us a different storyline. Take a page from Babylon 5 and even Deep Space Nine, where they had a continuous storyline. And for those Deep Space Nine, actually, they have an underlying continuous storyline. But that aside, if you want to plan it out for 5 seasons, even if you don't get to 5 seasons, they could plan it out to have a better storyline, a better enemy, things like that. So, whole new cast. I wouldn't bring in the character Maggie or Mallory or Dr. Davis. If I did bring them in, it'd be as side characters. They wouldn't be main characters. They would just run into them. You know what I mean? Actually, they could even have the original actors play them. And, this new group of Sliders could run into them. Oh, you know what? They could actually have it as an episode where this new group of Sliders actually meets Maggie, Mallory, and Dr. Davis. And, and they're like, you're Quinn, you're, Wade, you're the professor. They're a little caught off guard because, one, they're so much younger. And they're just like, oh, wow, it picks up there. So that could actually be an episode in the new one, introducing those 3. And then it could, still have all the actors show up here and there throughout. Or maybe even have them kind of come back. Like Jerry O'Connell could come back as Quinn, but like an older, maybe, he could be the villain. There we go. Like he comes back and he's the original Quinn Mallory. And he's a villain now because he's angry because he never made it home. So he could be a Quinn Mallory who he's fed up, he's angry, and he just decided to be evil. That could be a thing. So yeah, with this one, there's quite a few ways. This is just off the top of my head in some ways, but I think the best one would be a 2-hour movie or miniseries to wrap everything up, give everyone a happy ending. Or I think the whole new cast would probably work best. Like I said, and have everyone kind of guest star. And, I wonder if Jerry O'Connell would play a villain. I don't recall him ever playing a villain. Maybe it's time he played a villain. He could, like I said, he still played Quinn, just an evil version of Quinn. And pretty much kind of give the young Quinn a glimpse of his future. And they'll be like, this is what you turn into if you don't make it home. So, but yeah, that's how I see Sliders going. So there's all the different ways. And if you guys got any other ways you'd like to see it come back, leave them in the comments. And once again, like I said, thanks for watching. Thanks for interacting. Hope you guys enjoy this. That's my take on remaking Sliders. You guys take care.